Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Gleason. I'm going to be your instructor for this course. Sorry for the mix-up this week. I obviously have emailed everybody and let everybody know that I had some extenuating personal circumstances, but that's under control now. So I just wanted to upload a video today to welcome everybody and so you can see me, who you're contacting online this semester, somewhat faceless for a good bit of the time. And I just wanted to go through the syllabus with you. That way you could understand what the requirements are for this course, the structure of the course, what's expected, so you can succeed in it. So if you'd like, you can pull the syllabus up in iCollege right there at the top right. I have replaced it because there was a discrepancy on it, one or two. So I have just put up a new one. The changes are minimal. We can the one you have now is correct, so we can just talk about that. So you can see here at the beginning, this is spring 2021 online. I'm your instructor. There is please notice right here at the top, the email that's given there is cgleason1@gsu.edu. I was a student at one point here as well, and so there is a student email for me that some people pull up, and I'm going to ask that you please don't use that because I don't check it as much. Sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle. I do have access to it, but please, if you're trying to contact me at cgleason1@gsu.edu and not the student email, okay? You can see that my office location here is in 25 Park Place. The office hours, because of COVID and all the extenuating circumstances, are by appointment only. And to be honest, I am probably going to try to do any questions or any problems that need to be ironed out, or anything that we would use office hours for. I'm probably going to first try to set up either a phone call or a WebEx or a Zoom call or something. If someone is extremely adamant about coming in and talking face to face, I am open to doing that. But that would probably be the last step. So here you can see the syllabus. Your syllabus, for those of you who are coming in, is essentially a course map. It's sort of an unofficial contract. It can change, especially with the extenuating circumstances we have now with COVID and different things like that, or things like what happened to me earlier this week. If there's some reason, extenuating circumstance that has to cancel some form or move things around, but the hope and usually the truth of it is that the class pretty much goes by the syllabus very as strictly as possible. So it's important to read the whole thing. Particularly at the bottom of this, you're going to see a course schedule, and that's going to be very important for you to keep up with, because that's how we're going to go through this, and it goes fairly quickly. So keep that in mind. Here you see the course description. This is a course that provides a survey of U.S. history from European discovery through the present, all in one semester. So this is a very fast-track course, survey of American history. We're going to essentially have to try to hit the high points, the most important things that we can do. We're not going to be able to get super in depth in some of the things that I would like to, but we will get to talk about some pretty interesting things and some very important things, especially in relation to how America developed, evolved, built, destroyed sometimes. We want to talk about the good and the bad because there's both. And that's important to understand. But hopefully the purpose of this course is so you can understand the world around you, the immediate world around you here in the U.S., and kind of how it became what it is today. So we're going to see some really huge successes, and we're going to see some failures as well. And I really want to talk about American history in a realistic and as much as possible a rational and hopefully nonpartisan method. A lot of times in higher ed, specifically in regional places like here in the South, there is a apprehension about talking about America and its legacy, because higher ed is sometimes seen as kind of a haven for liberal ideas, and has a tendency to demonize American history. And one of the things that I really want to focus on in this course is there are always two sides, and very rarely is everyone right, and very rarely is everyone wrong. So we want to be able to not only just learn history here, but we want to be able to look at historical documents, historical figures, the things, the material that we'll go through, events, and to think critically about them, and to say, aspects of this movement were very beneficial or very positive, but there might also be some things that were negative, and that's kind of true for most things in life. So keep that in mind. Here you can say that, or you can see that I say this course focuses on the intellectual, social, political, religious, and cultural history of America. So we're going to hit kind of a broad array of themes there. And then I say this as such, it should not only intend to give insight into the events of the past, but also to provide insights into how those debates shape the present. And we're going to see that really specifically when we get to the 20th century. Online course materials and required software. You will need a Mac or PC computer to access these materials and to participate in the digital assignments and exchanges, and to submit your digital projects. Now, the digital projects is a wide term. We're going to get down to the assignments here in a minute, and I'll go into that. Assignments would probably be a better word than projects. And I am having trouble going down here. There we go. Okay, general education goals. Here in History 2110, we want students to be able to communicate effectively using appropriate writing conventions and formats, effectively evaluate claims, arguments, and evidence, use the results of analysis to appropriately construct new arguments and formulate new questions, effectively use their computers and other technology. Students will learn to analyze primary source documents according to their appropriate historical context. And we'll talk about that in a second when we get down to the primary sources. Course objectives: identify key people, events, and changes in American culture. Very important. You'll notice here under required text, so your text is a digital online textbook that is free to you. So you don't have to buy anything for this course. Everything is included in the iCollege. In iCollege. So you'll see that Jeff Young, The Dream of America, is going to be our textbook for this class. That's very important. And then I'm going to give you primary sources. Some of them are primary sources, some of them will be secondary sources. So either way, each week you will have a reading outside of the textbook that you will need to be able to read and analyze on your own, be able to put in your own words, be able to think about in a critical manner. So, and I'll talk about that in just a second when we get down there. Academic honesty, obviously, if you cheat in here, if I find out you're cheating, or that's going to be a problem, and it is my responsibility to make that known, which can end in you either losing credit for the course or possibly being disciplined to the point of having to leave the school. I don't think this is going to be a huge issue for this class, because the way I have set this course up is it is open notes and open book. So really the only thing that could possibly get you in trouble in here is there is, obviously the reading analysis that we're going to talk about, and then there is a final in the course, and if I see overlap between two of those, that's going to be very apparent. So keep that in mind. Do your own work. In college and in life. Attendance policies: this is an online course, so there is no attendance. There are quizzes each week and the writing assignments throughout the semester. If you don't, this is very important. I have to turn in role verification, so for funding purposes. So if you do not complete the quizzes for the first 3 weeks, you'll be dropped from the course, because that is the way that I see that someone's not participating, and I interpret that without having communicated with anyone as them not participating in the course. And there are, due dates, we'll see in just a second, where I can kind of see who's tracking along and who's not. Office of Disability Services is next. If you have any kind of disability, you have to register that with the Office of Disability Services, and then I will get notification for that, and I will accommodate anything that I need to do. Okay? Very important, GSU email policy. Okay, so here again, I really want to reiterate, if you want to contact me and you want me to see it quickly, you need to email me through cgleason1@gsu.edu. Now, there is a messaging system inside of iCollege. Do not use that because it is very likely that I will never see that message. So the official policy is to use a student email. Your student email and then my faculty email. So please do that. Do not, I really want to reiterate, do not message through iCollege because your message will likely not be seen. Course evaluations at the end, you will be able to evaluate this course, including your own performance, what you would do differently, what you might not, what I should do differently, what not. That'll be very self-explanatory. Here's your grading scale. This is a plus-minus system, so you'll notice that there's small little differences between A's, B's, C's, and plus as well. So you can look over that and see those. They're pretty straightforward. So here's important: the assignments for this course. There are going to be quizzes. There's going to be 13 quizzes. During this course, there's one for every week of material that we have. So you can see that will add up to 130 points. So each unit, you're going to have 10 parts in each unit, and you can go through those through the week as you see fit. And then at the end of that week, by 11:59 on Sunday, you will need to complete the quiz for that entire unit. So there are 10 little modules in each unit each week, and so you'll need to do that. Okay, and in addition, you will have primary source analysis. Now, I say primary source. Most of these are primary sources. They're listed on the right of your iCollege as readings. Some of them are primary sources, meaning they are, the direct from the author. Some of them are secondary sources, where you have someone writing about something else. That's a little rare, but there are a few of them in there. And there are one or two videos. So they're under readings, but most of them are primary source readings. I did mix in some other stuff like secondary sources and videos, but there's one for every week, okay? So throughout the semester, you're going to need to turn in 4 analysis of one of those. So there's 13 different ones. You're going to pick 4 of those. Now it's important to note that, and when you look down here at the schedule at the bottom, you'll see that your first reading response is due 11:59 on February 7th. Okay, so look down here real quick at the course schedule. You'll notice that is the end of week 4. So for that first reading response that you have there, you can choose any of the readings from any of the weeks through 1 through 4. Okay, so you can see that you can choose Christopher Columbus Journal. You can choose John Winthrop City on a Hill. Week 3 is the Declaration of Independence. Week 4 is the Articles of Confederation. Right, so you can pick any one of those 4 to turn in your reading analysis on, whichever one you find most interesting or want to write the most about. But notice that after that reading response is due, we'll be moving into the reading response 2 period. So you'll see that reading response 2, second reading response, if you look down at week 7 on the schedule down there at the bottom, it says the second reading response is due 11:59 February 28th. Now, when you turn in that reading response, you can choose week 5, week 6, or week 7, but only those 3, because I want you to, in that time, I want you to be able to analyze readings that are after the first due date of the first reading response up until the due date of the second reading response. So if you have any questions about that, you can email me. But if you look at the course schedule, any reading response that is due should be done on weeks that are in between the red assignments, right? So for Reading response 1, you can do weeks 1 through 4, pick one of those, do it. For reading response 2, you can do week 5 through 7, pick one of those. Reading response 3 is due April 4th. And then you can, for that one, you can pick weeks 8 through 11. And then the last one is going to be due April 25th. And for that one, you only have 2, and you can choose, it's week 12 or week 13. That'll be Malcolm X, The Ballad or the Bullet, or we have a video of Anita Bryant, Save the Children. So those will be your 2 choices for that fourth one. And that way, because I want to keep us kind of on the same page, trucking along that way. So for the reading responses, and I have a bunch of people ask me this, and I'll probably cut and paste this into another document so you can see. What I'm essentially looking for in those things is that you can, I want, it's very important to me, I want this in a 1-page, Times New Roman, 12-point font, normal inch margins. You know, I have people try to turn in, crazy indented stuff or spaces in between the paragraphs. Don't do any of that because that's going to affect the grade. 1-page paper is, especially as an analysis, is very simple and very concise. It's not very long. So there are a few things I don't want you to do. I don't want you to use direct quotes from it, because 1-page paper, a direct quote, is just you copying and pasting essentially what's already in the document. I don't want that. What I want is your ideas, your thoughts. So the first half should essentially be a kind of summary. So, what is this document saying? Yeah. There's a typo there. Okay, I can fix that. So students should be able to articulate what the author is saying, and essentially put it in their own words. I want you to be able to paraphrase the document and show that you can read something and put it in your own words, so that I can see that you understand what it's saying. And then the second half of the page should essentially be a more of a critical kind of analysis. So I want you to think about the material that we covered that week, and I want you to tell me, why is this important? Why is this person thinking the way they think? What is their motivations? I give you a couple leading questions here. What perspective are they coming from? What are their concerns? What are the specific historical events they are referring to? So this is how you can essentially separate that 1-page paper. You can have a sort of summary. This is the person. This is who they are. This is what this document says, and this is why it matters in relation to the things that we've covered that week, right? So if you have any questions about that, you can obviously schedule me, or you can email me. But it's very important to think about that. What you really want to keep in mind for these primary source analyses are, don't use direct quotes, put it in your own words. I want you to make sure that it's 1 page, 12-point font, Times New Roman. Don't do crazy fonts, don't do bigger fonts. Give me just a solid 1 page of your summary and why it matters. And if you're concise, and you are, it's direct. You don't have to be flowery. I just want to know that you can understand what a document is, whether it's a primary source, secondary source, or a video, and that you can relate it back to the course material that we covered that week. Okay. And then lastly, you have a final exam, and that's 50 points. There is a final exam. It is going to be, I will change that as well. It will be provided ahead of time. That way you are going to have a good bit of time to collect your thoughts, to look at your notes, to go back over. It's open note, it's open book, and essentially I'm going to give you a number of essay questions, and you're going to pick 2 of those, okay? So this is important. You will write a 2-page, essentially 2-page, 12-point, double-spaced font, 12-point font, double-spaced paper for each question. So I expect roughly 4 pages for that final. And I'm going to give you a very kind of broad question. You will get all 6 of those questions a week or so ahead of time. So it's not something that's going to be, in the moment. You're going to have plenty of time to kind of outline out what you want to say, how you want to do that. So I'll give you 6 questions. You will pick the 2 that you like the best, because I want you to be able to talk about what interests you the most in this course. And then you will write essentially a 2-page paper for each of those 2 questions that you choose. Excuse me. So we will talk about. I'll post more about that later, but I've done it this way in the past, and it's been really well. So I will let that stay. Notice that not turning the final exam in can result in a failing grade in the course. I've had people in the past notice that if they do all the quizzes and they do the primary source analysis and they do really well on them, then they could actually not take the final and still not get a very good grade in the class, but still pass the class. And I've specifically addressed that by saying it is necessary to turn this final in to pass the course. So that's important. Real quick, look at this course schedule. Week 1, you can see that we're starting here with colonization, Columbus. Week 2, we're going to move into the colonial America. We're going to talk about John Winthrop and kind of the Puritan legacy there. Unit 3, week 3. And these units, you're going to see that you have 10 modules every week that are in these units. So that's broken up so you can kind of space it out if you like, however you want to do it throughout the week. But they all correspond to each unit. So week 3, Enlightenment, Religion, and Slavery. We'll talk about the Declaration of Independence. Week 4, you'll notice at the end of week 4, your first reading response will be due. We'll be talking about the Revolution. Very quick, we're going to talk about early America, and we will read Frederick Douglass then. Week 6, we're going to be moving into the sectional split that will give us the Civil War. We're going to read No Compromise with the Evil of Slavery there. Week 7, some W.E.B. Du Bois, and we're going to see that your second reading response is due by the end of that week. Then very quickly, we're going to move to the end of the 19th century, and that's going to be a video that week that you watch on the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. Then we'll have spring break. When we come back, I gotta look at that again. When we come back, we'll have Progressivism, week 10, the Cold War, the Lavender Scare. It's a very interesting read. And then at the end of week 11, we're going to be moving into the 50s and civil rights. The third reading response is due. The 60s will be week 12. That's one of my favorites. We will read Malcolm X that week. And then week 13, we're going to look at the Save the Children by Anita Bryant. Essentially, we're going to be having the rise of modern conservatism there, and specifically culture wars, things over the division of America that we're so familiar with today, and how that kind of goes back to the 1960s, and we'll see it really come to a head in the 1980s. Week 14, you'll notice that this is I'm going to give you an entire week to do the final exam review, so you can, excuse me, try not to sneeze. Excuse me. I'm going to give you a whole week there to basically just look back over the material that you've looked at. I will give you the questions for the final ahead of time. That way you can think about it. You can start mapping out. And the trade-off here is you're going to have a week, really over, because your final exam isn't due till the week after that week. You're going to have a very long period of time to work on this. Now, that being said, I expect them to be good. So, if I give you a week and a half with the questions to look over, and then you can pick 2 of those questions, then I want those to be polished, right? I want them to be good essays. And so I give you a lot of time, and I give you open notes, and I give you open book to be able to really think about and go through the material to pull out what you think is important and put it into your own words. Again, I don't want a lot of direct quotes in these things. I want you just to be able to show me your analytical thought. You don't have to cite anything. this is but you do have to talk about the events in a critical way to show me that you can answer this, in a very articulate manner. They're essentially going to be what I would expect is two roughly 5 paragraph essays that almost like you would learn to write in high school. Where you take a position. I'm going to give you a question, and you're going to take a position, and then you're going to give me evidence from the material that we've talked about. And you're going to go through and show me that you can take a position and argue it, right? So that's what I really want you to be able to do, is for someone to, if I ask you, why were the 60s important? Which is probably going to be one of those kind of questions. What sort of things came out of the 60s that changed America, or what were the, kind of a broad question like that. Then you can go back and give me a number of things that are important from that time, and we'll get there. That'll be very apparent when you get there. Here, very important, your final is due through iCollege. You'll turn it in through iCollege no later than 11:59 on May 3rd, because I have to get grades in. And if I don't get all of your papers and have time to grade them all, then you will not get a grade. So that's important. So that being said, I see that I have a discrepancy or two in this new new syllabus, so I am going to fix that real quick and get it up. And if you have any questions or concerns, or I can help you in any way, please email me and I will be happy to do that. All right. Looking forward to a good semester, and hope you guys stay safe out there. Thanks.